Bit of movie news today. Last October, we kind of talked about a story or an article or about Matrix 4, right? One of the stars of the movie, and I can't quite think of her name off the top of my head. One of the actors in the movie, back in October, was kind of saying that how Lana Wachowski has developed a brand new filming style, a brand new filming method, and it's going to kind of revolutionize the industry again, the same way of how the first Matrix kind of revolutionized filming and filmmaking and the way that we approach visual storytelling. Well, now in an interview with Neil Patrick Harris, first of all, hang on a second, Neil Patrick Harris is in Matrix 4? I had no idea. I'm also not one of those people that, like, I don't scroll through IMDb every single day to see what all the new casting announcements are. Like, okay, cool. Like, he's in the movie. I didn't know that. So, cool. Awesome. Good for him. But he also says in this article from Variety of how this particular shoot feels very intimate, very different from the other Matrix films. Not that he was in the other Matrix films, but let's jump into this article from Variety. And this is what Neil Patrick Harris had to say about being on set. He says, "It didn't feel large because it felt like she was in her sweet spot." She, referring to Lana Wachowski, the writer and director, which was filming on the fly, filming using natural light. He goes on to say, "Sometimes you'd sit around for an hour waiting for the clouds to clear, and then you'd quickly film. You'd film pages at a time in 30 minutes and then be done." He adds, you would think that a giant movie would be 100% storyboarded, animatic, and we'd be checking off shots. I think she lived that before 3 times over, with Matrix 1, 2, and 3. And I would suspect that she wants to do things her own way now. It wasn't often. I'm having a hard time reading this morning, you guys. Focus. It wasn't often that you felt that you were doing something gigantic because she made it feel very intimate. I think this is really interesting. I think this is really fascinating. Not that this is, like a revolutionary kind of thing here, you guys, but I think we can expect to see some really interesting things come from this Matrix 4 movie. Like when Neil Patrick Harris talks about, like, well, we're just sitting around for hours waiting for the clouds to clear, and then they clear. It kind of reminds me of that moment in Thor Ragnarok when, Anthony Hopkins and, obviously Thor and... Loki. Sorry, I'm looking at the live comments. Where Thor and Loki and their father, Anthony Hopkins, they're all kind of like standing there in the middle of that field in Norway, and like there's clouds overhead, and you have to kind of wait for the right lighting. It feels to me, especially with the previous comments that came back from October, there's kind of a new cinematic style happening. This is also very evocative to me of the new filming technique or style, maybe not technique, but the new style that the Eternals movie, that Marvel's The Eternals is going to be using a lot of natural light, not a lot of CGI'd green screens or blue screens to try and, plug in what types of shots and stuff that they need. I think this is, especially like with Eternals and now with Matrix 4, having big budget action movies done in kind of like a real way to have a very new cinematic feel to them. It makes me think of like a lot of the I don't want to say the big budget blockbuster films of like the 70s, because there weren't a lot of blockbuster types of films from the 70s, except for like Star Wars or maybe even Jaws. But this kind of makes me think that we're going to have like grounded stories where the stories need that kind of like realism that only like natural lighting can provide, especially if there's a new kind of cinematic way of capturing these moments, these real live, naturally lit kind of moments. I think this could be something really special, something really interesting that we haven't necessarily seen before. But like I said, what do you think of Neil Patrick Harris's comments about being on set and the use of natural light in a Matrix movie? It also kind of makes sense to me, being that with the revelation of the title of the film just being called Matrix, it's not being called Matrix 4 or, Matrix Underworld or, whatever it could have been. It's just going to be simply Matrix, kind of taking it back to the basics a little bit, maybe reinventing itself a little bit, taking it in a very different direction, and with a brand new look or cinematic feel to it, I think is going to help tell that story that she wants to tell. Anyway, like I said, guys, what do you think of all this? Jump on down to the comment section below and let me know those thoughts. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you like this video, click like. If you really like this video, click subscribe. And if you really, really like this video, click share. Because that is exactly what the mighty Thor would want you to do. For Asgard!